Well, hello, big riggers. Thanks for joining me, Jim Campbell, as we talk about all things trucking.
In this video, we will discuss the importance of runaway truck ramps, which every truck driver should know about. Please watch to the very end of this video so that you can get a much fuller understanding of runaway truck ramps and the importance of knowing where they are and how to use them if needed. Please remember to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment or two below about situations that you may have witnessed surrounding the use of a runaway truck ramp. Runaway truck ramps are special ramps located on downhill sides of steep grades and mountains. These ramps are designed to stop a truck that may have lost their brakes or has other issues and are designed to prevent that truck from continuing down the mountain and potentially causing severe accidents. It's not uncommon for drivers, especially those who are new or inexperienced, to mismanage the way they drop down a mountainside. In a lot of the cases, these drivers, some young, some old, didn't understand how brake pressure works or understand the pedal work needed to safely descend down a steep grade. Runaway truck ramps are meant to save drivers and possibly others in situations where the truck is experiencing brake failure. It's important to note that even experienced drivers can face brake issues due to various factors like overconfidence, unexpected trailer weight or trailer issues, or lack of proper brake checks. I made a previous video on mountain driving and the proper technique to use when climbing and descending a mountain or hillside grade, and will provide that video link at the end of this video. Simply click on that picture of the video link and it will start playing that video.
Keep in mind that you can drive 1,000,000 times too slow, but it only takes one time too fast. Think about that. Okay, dropping off a mountain way too fast. I've seen it happen. I almost did it myself once. But you got to watch coming down these mountains. You smoke those brakes or, they're going to fail on you. It's a standard rule that I think most people use, and they don't, they need to use. Whatever gear you use to climb that hill, when you go down the other side, you go one gear lower. You know what I'm saying? So whatever gear you bring going up, you crest the top and you come down the other side, go one gear lower than what you use to climb. Reason why is you're going to be going downhill, and that'll give you that much more, hold you back a little bit. So one gear lower than what you use to climb the hill, make sure the Jake brake's on. And as you're going down the mountain, your speed's going to pick up. Once it picks up I used to always go like 10 miles past. So if I started off doing 25, I don't know, whatever it was, low, of course, 20, 25 miles an hour, you let it run up 10 miles above that. And then as soon as it did, you utilize what we call stab braking, where you get on it, stay on it until your speedometer backs off those 10 mile an hour and you're back to where you began at. So you get off the brake and you let it roll again. It slowly builds up to 10 miles past, gain 10 miles an hour in speed. As soon as it does, you stab brake again and stay on it until it backs down to where it was again. And then that's just a continuous thing you do, stab braking. And by doing it that way, you're not going to smoke your brakes or get to the bottom of the hill and have no brakes at all, or get an accident along the way because your brakes failed. As a side note, if you know you're going to be running mountains, get your brakes checked. If you don't know how to self-check them, have a shop do it or something, but can't be, if you know you're running down these mountains, don't do it with less than perfect brakes. I got scared on me one time. Well, one of the first times I was out west. I was coming down Flagstaff on my way to Bakersfield, as I recall. I didn't know about the rule, one gear lower going down than what you use to climb. I smoked my brakes. I made it down okay. Looking at my rear view, I was seeing some smoke. I was sucking up a little seat, admittedly. You can't take these mountains for granted. You cannot take them for granted or you're going to pay. Anyway, be careful. Be careful of these mountains. You can't take them for granted.
The purpose of runaway truck ramps is to provide a safe way for trucks to stop should their brakes fail or they are experiencing other issues and need to take action to stop their truck as a means to avoid a severe accident further along the grade or at the bottom or the grade. Different states and provinces in Canada have various ways of marking and maintaining these ramps. Some states, like California and Colorado, often use flashing lights to indicate an upcoming runaway ramp, making it easier for drivers to spot them. However, some states only use small signs, which can be tough to notice for a driver dealing with brake failure. There are three main types of runaway truck ramps, each with its own design and functionality. The most common type of runaway truck ramp is the uphill escape ramps. These ramps are sometimes cut through forests or up the sides of mountains. They are relatively inexpensive to construct, as they only require a bulldozer and some clearing. When a truck uses this ramp, it travels uphill until it loses momentum and stops. This type of runaway ramp keeps the truck out of traffic, which reduces the risk of further collisions. The second type of runaway ramp is the gravel or sand pit type. These are found frequently in California. These ramps consist of large pits filled with sand or pea gravel. When a truck enters the ramp, the depth of the sand or gravel slows and stops the vehicle. These ramps are effective, but more expensive to build and maintain, as the material needs reworking after each use. They can be placed in various locations, including wide median strips. The third and less common type of runaway ramp is the cable arrestor system. These systems, similar to those used on aircraft carriers, employ arrestor cables spaced along the ramp. The truck's momentum is gradually reduced by these cables, eventually bringing it to a stop. While effective, these ramps are costly to install and repair, which is why they are less common. So what are the pros and cons of the different ramp types? Each type of runaway truck ramp has its advantages and disadvantages. Uphill runaway ramps. First, the pros. They are less expensive to build. They work by allowing the truck's momentum to slow them down and are very effective in stopping trucks. Now the cons. Once the runaway truck reaches the top of the runaway truck ramp, the truck may roll back down and jackknife if not handled correctly, potentially totaling the truck, damaging the load and injuring the driver. Gravel or sand pits. The pros for this type of runaway truck ramp is that they generally cause very minimal damage to the truck, trailer, and driver, as long as the truck enters the ramp correctly. Meanwhile, the con is that they are expensive to maintain because the sand or gravel needs reworking after each use. Cable arrestor systems. First, the pros. This type of runaway ramp is very effective in stopping trucks using a cable system similar to those used to stop jets landing on an aircraft carrier. The cons with the cable arrestor system type is that this type of runaway truck ramp is extremely expensive to install and repair and often results in significant truck damage. A common question regarding runaway truck ramps is whether there are fines for a truck using them. This varies by state. Some states charge fees to cover the cost of repairing the runaway truck ramp after use, while others do not. However, the financial implications extend beyond any immediate fines. The Department of Transportation will typically inspect the truck after an incident, which can result in fines for brake issues or loss of vehicle control. Additionally, there will be costs for towing and repairing the truck, and if there is a fuel spill, the Environmental Protection Agency will get involved, and that can get very expensive. Despite these costs, using a runaway ramp is far less expensive than the potential consequences of bypassing it and causing an accident that results in the death of the driver or death of others. A recent and notable example of this is the 2019 Denver, Colorado crash. In that case, a driver bypassed a runaway truck ramp, resulting in a tragic accident that killed 4 people. In that April 2019 Denver, Colorado crash, the truck driver Rogel Lazaro Aguilera Medeiros was 24 years old at the time of the crash. He was inexperienced, hadn't been trained about runaway truck ramps, and probably couldn't read the signs that he was seeing because a translator was needed to complete his accident statement to police. Rogel Lazaro Aguilera Medeiros, who said he lost his brakes on a steep grade near Denver, Colorado, was sentenced to 110 years in prison for the 4 people who were killed in the 28 vehicle crash. A particularly damning video of Aguilera Medeiros' truck taken moments before the accident, showed the truck swerving down the highway and passing a runaway truck ramp arrestor bed that could have prevented the tragedy. Police said Aguilera Madero's truck was doing 85 miles per hour when he slammed into the stopped traffic after passing multiple runaway truck ramp signs. He allegedly told police from a hospital after the crash that his brakes failed, and he didn't want to exit the highway for fear of rolling his truck. Because the truck was destroyed in the crash and resulting fire, investigators were unable to examine it for mechanical failure. Unfortunately, many truck driving schools do not adequately train drivers on the use of runaway truck ramps, and the majority of company safety directors probably fail to talk about runaway truck ramps to drivers as well. This lack of education is a serious gap in driver training programs. Drivers must understand when and how to use these ramps to ensure their safety and the safety of others on the road. While runaway ramps are a crucial safety feature, the best approach is to prevent brake failure in the first place. This can be achieved through proper maintenance of equipment as well as pre-trip inspections and safe driving practices. Key steps include: Number 1. Proper maintenance and pre-trip inspections. Shop mechanics need to check brake lines, pads, and drums for any signs of wear or damage and ensure tire pressure and tread depth are within safe limits. However, it's the driver's responsibility to make sure the maintenance on his equipment is taking place and to alert someone of any potential problems. The driver also needs to verify that all fluids, including oil, coolant, and transmission fluid, are at proper levels. Number 2. Driving in lower gear. The driver needs to understand the reasons behind using one gear lower when descending a steep grade than what was used to climb the grade, as this will save the brakes from overheating and failing. The driver also needs to understand the proper use of the Jake brake or engine brake, which is there to help control speed without overusing the truck and trailer brakes. Number 3. Knowing the locations of runaway truck ramps. As a driver, you should familiarize yourself with the locations of runaway truck ramps along your route and plan ahead, so you know where the nearest ramp is if you experience brake failure. Several real-life recent incidents highlight the importance of using runaway truck ramps. There was an incident in Oregon back in May of 2022. 2 trucks from the same company lost their brakes and used the same runaway truck ramp. The second truck followed the first truck up the ramp, however. His speed was greater than the first truck, and he ended up colliding with the first truck at the top of the runaway truck ramp, causing significant damage but no injuries. There was also an incident at Cajun Pass in California in October of 2023. A truck crashed into the hillside after using a runaway truck ramp. The driver suffered minor injuries, and while the truck was destroyed, the incident prevented a potentially deadly accident. In conclusion, driving in mountainous areas can pose unique challenges, particularly the risk of brake failure on steep descents. Runaway truck ramps are essential for road safety and can prevent severe accidents and save lives. There may end up being some associated costs with using a runaway truck ramp. However, any monetary cost is a drop in the bucket when compared to the possible consequences of not using them. Truck drivers must be well trained and prepared to use runaway truck ramps when needed. Proper maintenance, pre-trip inspections, and safe driving practices are crucial to preventing brake failure. Ultimately, the decision to use a runaway truck ramp should be guided by safety, not pride or overconfidence. Stay safe on the roads out there, my friend, and especially when traveling over mountainous terrain. Always prioritize safety, and remember that using a runaway truck ramp can save lives, including your own. Please leave me a comment below about an incident that you may have witnessed when dropping down a steep grade and how you handled it. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment below for more trucking safety tips and insights.
Thanks a lot. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.